Your privacy at stake. It's at the heart of a lawsuit over the NSA scandal. Good evening, everyone. I'm George Thomas.
And I'm Lori Johnson.
Some of America's most famous civil libertarians say they're suing the federal government in the name of every American who uses a phone.
And as Paul Strand reports in tonight's top story, that could mean more than 300 million plaintiffs.
A U.S. Senator and top Tea Party leader went to this federal courthouse in Washington, D.C. to sue their own government for themselves.
And everyone in America that has a phone, we're filing suit against the President of the United States in defense of the Fourth Amendment.
It's aimed at stopping the kind of vast sweeping up of all Americans' phone records by agencies like the NSA without suspicion or warrant. Senator Paul says this lawsuit is to stop, quoting here, precisely the kind of overreach we fought a revolution over. And he expects the case to go all the way to the U.S. Supreme Court.
There's a huge and growing swell of protest in this country of people who are outraged that their records would be taken without suspicion, without a judge's warrant.
So who's been hurt by these vast phone record grabs and thus has standing to sue? If you don't use a phone, not you, says Virginia's former Attorney General, the lead counsel on this case.
But if you have used a phone in the last 5 years, this case is about protecting your rights as against your own government and their invasion of your privacy.
We have a class action lawsuit that could involve conceivably 300 to 400 million people.
Matt Kibbe heads up the Tea Party, suing along with Senator Paul.
This isn't Republican versus Democrat. This isn't about the Obama administration. This is about a government that's crossed the line.
They say if they win,
we will have pushed the federal government back across the line of trampling the Constitution yet again.
The White House shot back that the record grabs are legal.
We believe that the program as it exists is lawful. We're not alone. It has been found to be lawful by multiple courts.
Meanwhile, Senator Paul asserts this shouldn't hurt the war against terror one bit.
There's no evidence that there's been one terrorist caught or detained or prevented uniquely on this information.
Paul Strand, CBN News, Washington.
John Whitehead, a constitutional law expert with the Rutherford Institute, joins us now to discuss this specific lawsuit. John, suing the federal government isn't always easy. Do you think this lawsuit has a chance?
We've had a number of cases dealing with NSA, the TSA. It's very, very difficult because a lot of the courts are overzealous about national security in the sense that they will allow the government to actually do domestic snooping, which, by the way, violates our Fourth Amendment constitutional rights. So it's not a pat thing. And again, what I've urged congressmen like Rand Paul to do is we need some good legislation here that will actually curtail the NSA. I think that's a big step along with the lawsuit, yes.
When you look at folks like Rand Paul and others who are stepping up to the plate and suing the government on this, do you think it's important for them to bring the case against the NSA and the president?
Oh, yeah. I think we need to hold President Obama liable for this, because you remember in the beginning he said, well, they really aren't doing domestic snooping. Then we found out, and so he didn't tell the truth. So yeah, I think we need to hold our leaders accountable. James Madison said it very clearly, the father of our Constitution. We ought to mistrust all those in power. The NSA has a black ops budget. We don't even know how much they spend. Well, that violates Article 1, Section 9 of the Constitution. All funds are supposed to be accountable to the American people. So they've been violating the Constitution, by the way, for many years. I started writing on the NSA back in the 1980s when they were already doing this back in the 1980s, snooping on American citizens.
And John, to that very point, this isn't necessarily, this isn't a Republican versus Democrat issue, but it really is about protecting the constitutional rights of American people, specifically, as you mentioned here, the Fourth Amendment, right?
Yeah, the Fourth Amendment says before you do any kind of surveillance on American citizens, you have to have probable cause, which means there must be some evidence of illegality. Well, the NSA, actually anything we do electronic, our bank records, the NSA is collecting 200 million text messages a day. They're snooping. They're violating the Fourth Amendment. They're undermining our Constitution. We don't need a secret government in America. No, if we have a secret government, then we're doing what past regimes did, and that is the next thing is going to be a Gestapo and some really bad things. People forget that the FBI collected 17,000 pages of information to be used against Martin Luther King for his freedom activities. This stuff's been going on a long time. It's time to hold our government accountable, yes.
Okay, John Whitehead with the Rutherford Institute. Sir, as always, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.